We've all got to be on the same page because I will be talking about Mr. Big because he's got me fired up. He has my blood legit. I have a visceral reaction with the way that he talks to Carrie. Like I'm actually getting hot and heated. I'm going to start off this podcast with saying that I think it should be a requirement for every woman to watch Sex in the City in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, like every single decade, they rewatch Sex in the City. I'm watching Sex in the City for the first time in my life. I know I've seen clips of it. My mom watched it when I was growing up. I didn't know too much about it, but I saw it on Netflix. So I'm pretty sure everyone has Netflix. Go watch it right now if you haven't already. I won't give any spoilers or anything like that, but it is like so girlhood and womanhood core, and I am obsessed with this show for so many different reasons. I could go on and on. I think I want to make an episode on if you are dating someone like Big, because I think we've all dated a Big in our life, which if you guys are not familiar with Sex in the City or you haven't watched it yet, Big is Carrie Bradshaw, who's the main character with the blonde poofy hair. She writes a sex column for a New York City newspaper. And she is on and off with this guy named Big. And I didn't realize it until like the second season, until it kind of clicked where I was like, oh my God, Big is, it's just a situationship. It's just a situationship. Like he is the CEO and founder of situationships. And the way that oh God, it's so hard because we've all been through something like that, or maybe you're going through it right now. But it's tough to watch because you know that you put yourself through that and you are with a guy like Big and you're like, why do I keep going back? Okay, this is not what this podcast episode is about. We're going to focus on friendships, but I wanted to bring up Sex in the City because everybody needs to watch it so we can all be watching it together. Or if you need a rewatch, do it now with me. I'm on season 3 right now. I am cruising through it. And the best part about the show is that they're literally like 25-minute episodes, which can we petition to have more 25-minute episode series? Why are all series 45 minutes to like an hour? Which honestly, I love like, you know what? A series that deserves 45 minutes to an hour, Stranger Things. I wish we could have 2-hour long episodes, right? But other little like one-off kind of, well, not one-off, but just more lighthearted, not as serious series like Sex in the City. There's a lot of series out there that I just feel like are too long. I mean, 25 minutes, like I can make my lunch, put on a whole episode and stay off my phone for like the whole episode because it's only like 25 minutes, put my phone down and just like clock in and then just be like, okay, that was only 25 minutes. It wasn't like an hour, you know? So petition to make more shows 25 minutes long, please. But an episode talking about what it's like to be in a situationship, or if you're in a situationship and how to get out of it and how to break through that toxic pattern, or if you're dating someone like Mr. Big. Okay. So that will be coming soon. I'm very inspired by this series. I'm very inspired by this show. And I want to focus on friendships because I asked some of my girls in my group coaching that I host every month with my 2 amazing assistant coaches. I'll give a little spiel, $99 a month. It's linked in the show notes if you want to check out more of the details, but you get 4 workouts a week, you get weekly recipes, you get daily habits to check off. So it's similar to kind of like 75 hard, where you've got like the habits and all these different things. And then also what's better than 75 hard is this, because you get a group message and a community of women, which I feel like we are lacking right now. Like we just need to come together as women, and this is a great space to do it while also focusing in on your health and wellness goals. There's around 100 girls in it right now. So if you can imagine you and 100 other girls that are all doing the same workouts and getting the same recipes and cheering each other on, like the group message is the best part about this whole entire thing. It's not even the workouts and everything like that. It's the group and it's the community aspect, knowing that you're not alone. It's just the best. So if you're interested, we're doing a special for Galentine's Day. We're doing Galentine's Day group coaching, and I will be announcing this soon, but I'll announce it on the podcast right now. But we are going to be doing, if you sign up, you get to bring a friend for free. So whether you sign up and you treat a friend, or maybe you and your friend can split the $99. One of you guys signs up, the other one Venmos. You guys get to do it together, but it's kind of like buy one and get one free. You get to bring a friend for Galentine's Day. You guys get to do the workouts together. Maybe if it's your roommate or whoever, maybe your sister, your mom, it doesn't matter. Bring along your gals. It's going to be so much fun. More details to come on that, all of that will be in the show notes and updated. So if you listen to this episode, in whatever, a week or two. It's only for the month of February. So it will shut down once February 2nd comes. But if you're listening to it right now and you catch it, hopefully it's live and you guys can sign up for it. But circling back, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to plug my business anytime I can. Okay. Who am I to not plug my business? But it's great. You guys should check it out. Outside of that, I asked the girls, I was like, okay, what do you want me to talk about on my podcast? Give me some ideas. And the girls were like friendships, being at different places in your life than your friends, growing out of friendships, friendship breakups. And I think it's safe to say that we've all been through our fair share of friendships over the years. And one thing about girlhood that I love so much is that I think we all experience the same things just at different points of our life. We don't all experience it at the same time, but I think at certain points in our lives, we all experience very similar things. And I think each year, I mean, I turned 26 tomorrow. I mean, by the time this is aired, I'm already 26, but I'm filming this a day before my birthday. So I'm basically 26. And I feel like in your 20s, it's a lot about making new friends, breaking boundaries, creating new boundaries, and also letting go of old friendships that aren't serving you. And I kind of have not an interesting take on this, but I do have an episode of my podcast that I aired either last year. I don't know if it's season 1 or season 2, but it's called Friendship. I think it's season 1. It's called Friendships with Females. Definitely take a listen to that because I talk about my take on friendships with females and whatnot. And all of that I still stand by. But there are things that I want to kind of repeat in this podcast and in this episode about what I think the difference between healthy and unhealthy friendships are. But before we get into that, I think 2024 was full of a lot of different lessons, right? I think one of the lessons that I at least saw in 2024 that was very evident was that women love to hate women. Women love to hate women. The biggest haters that we women have is ourselves as a community. It's not only ourselves as our individual self. We obviously are, you're going to be your biggest supporter and your biggest hater at the same time, but it's also just the community of women. Women as a whole, we hate we love to hate each other. And my mom always said jealousy is the ugliest trait a woman can have. And it's not always from jealousy, but your mom maybe always said, "Oh, they're jealous," or your friends were like, "Well, it's because they're jealous. They're jealous or this or that the other." And maybe subconsciously there's a little bit of envy amongst women in general, but there was a lot of shit that went down last year in 2024 where there was just a lot of stuff on the internet where women were just hated on, and it wasn't a lot of it was like influencers and content creators, but it was also like athletes and celebrities and whatever. And I feel like every other week there was a new cancellation on a woman. And was some of it maybe rightfully so? Sure. But to the degree that some of that went, I think was so far beyond anything. It's just crazy how much time people invest in other people. And I just think last year it was not a good year to come together as women. And I'm kind of feeling a shift in the air for 2025 where I think that we're all tired of that and we're all tired of seeing that kind of shit on social media because even if you don't want to consume it, you're still consuming it and you're ingesting that energy. And that lives inside of you. Even if it's not at the forefront of what you're thinking, subconsciously and internally, your body holds on and ingests that energy of people spewing out hate on others. And that will really build up over time and it creates just like us being against each other. And this is not what we need at this day and age. We as women need to come together. And I've been saying that for a while, but I think there's a shift in 2025 where we want to support each other, but we still find it kind of difficult. And that goes also with friendships as well. And I don't know. That's kind of like my take on at least what happened last year. And I feel like there's a new energy kind of in the air on a sense of community, a sense of belonging, a sense of wanting to just be friends with other girls. Because at the end of the day, friendships with women are the most important relationships that you will have in your life because nobody's going to understand you better than a woman is. There are some things that only women experience in life, whether it's good or very, very bad. And only another woman is going to be able to empathize and sympathize with you to a whole different degree. Can your partner, the love of your life, who's maybe a man who knows you better than you know yourself, and they love you and they support you, and you guys are just like yin and yang, can they be there for you? Absolutely. And can they still empathize and sympathize with you? Yes, totally. But there's only things that are specific to the girls and for the girls that only girls can understand. With one look with a stranger, you just know. And it's a unique thing that's only to women because we are in tune with so many other things. We read between the lines. We're always attentive to each other and making sure that you have a community of women around you that genuinely love and support you, that will be there for you through everything is so important. It's a pillar of life. It is like such an important foundational thing that we as women need. We need each other, especially now more than ever. But I feel like we're not there. We're not there. We're not clicking like that. And I think a lot of us are feeling that way. And we're like, okay, I moved to a new city. How do I make new friends? Or I am growing apart from a friend that I've been friends with for a couple years or my whole life. And I don't know what's happening. And it's really awkward. I think I'm going through a friendship breakup, which, yeah, relationship breakups are hard. But have you been through a friendship breakup? It's hard to a whole nother level because it's like you're breaking up with somebody who is a version of you, because you are who you surround yourself with. So you and your girlfriends mirror each other in a lot of ways, and you pick up on things and they pick up on things from you, and you kind of like become each other in a way. Not in a weird way, but in a healthy way. You guys just like mesh together. That's part of like this whole girlhood thing, right? And I think a lot of us want that and we need that right now, and we're not finding it. So, this is what we're going to talk about in today's episode. And circling back to the friendships with females episode, and I think I also talk about my college transfer story. Definitely take a listen to that because I think it would help you understand a little bit more about like my take on friendships and advice that I'm going to give you. But I want to give you what my opinion and my thoughts are on the difference between healthy friendships and unhealthy friendships. So, healthy friendships, which are honestly Sex in the City, the Samanthas. Okay, you've got four characters. Sorry. We're going to have to just talk about Sex in the City for a second. There's four women. We've got Samantha, we've got Carrie, we've got Charlotte, and we've got Miranda. They are four different women. They date four different kinds of men. They have four different takes on womanhood, on girlhood, on dating, on all these different things. But in a way, they are all of us. Each and every one of them is like all of us as women. It's like our four little pillars of womanhood are these four women and their different takes on everything. And the more I watch the show, the more I realize Samantha is a ride or fucking die best friend, because we've got Carrie who's going back to Big, which this is no shock. Okay, I'm not spoiling anything because it's pretty evident that like Mr. Big and Carrie are situationship 101, and they probably founded it. I mean, honestly, I wish they never maybe even created the show, because where did these situationship men get these ideas? Was it Big? Was it the show? I don't know. But anyways, Carrie went back to Big again. Oh gosh, I mean, total, not a shock, but still, like, come on, girl. And she told Samantha. Samantha was the only person that she told, and she's like, "Please don't tell Miranda or Charlotte." And Samantha, all her reaction was like, "Okay." She's like, "Well, was it good?" And Carrie's like, "Yes, but it can't happen again." And she's like, "Okay, that that is what we need. That's a healthy friendship." And that kind of like brings me and ties me into what I think a healthy friendship is. It's the Samanthas. We've got someone who you don't need to charge your social battery for, someone who you just feel comfortable around and where you don't feel judged, super big, someone who truly and genuinely supports your goals and aspirations, someone who pours just as much time and effort into you as you do them, and someone who will bail you out of jail or be in the same jail cell as you. Okay, you'll either be in the jail cell with them or you'll be calling them and be like, "Hey, can you bail me out?" That's more of a joke, but also not really. Those are the ride or die best friends that you want. And in the episode Friendships with Females, sorry, I know I keep referring back to it. My mom taught me this, but you have three kinds of friends and people in your life. You've got your acquaintances, your friends and your asshole buddies. Your acquaintances are people that you know of, maybe through, social media, through distant friends, like friends of friends, or maybe you met them once at a party and you haven't seen them for years. It's just somebody that you know of. Maybe you wouldn't say hi to them out in public if you saw them, but you're like, oh, yeah, I know them. Okay. Those are your acquaintances. Lots of those, right? We know a lot of people. We know a lot of people. We all have a ton of acquaintances. Then you've got your friends. It's a level up. Maybe it's family friends. It's people who you see out in public and you'll definitely go up and say hi to because it'd be awkward if you don't. It's not people you necessarily hate, but it's not people that you would call to jail you out of bail, to bail you out of jail. And it's just maybe somebody you'd catch up with and be like, yeah, like maybe we can catch up over a cup of coffee, but it's not something that you would go out of your way to, go any extra effort for them. Just friends, more than acquaintances, but not quite your asshole buddies. And then you've got your asshole buddies who are your ride or dies. Your ride or dies. They are a piece of you, they are a reflection of you. They are going to, this is huge, not only be there for you when you're at your lowest, because you need those kinds of people, but they're also going to celebrate you at your highest. How many of you guys have had people who support you at your lowest, but as soon as you start doing good and you start growing and you start pouring into yourself, or maybe you get in a good relationship, or maybe you decide to start a business, or maybe you decide to start posting on social media, or maybe you decide to, take a step back from certain friends in the group because you're seeing things differently and you're starting to grow and you're now at your highest and they're not there for you anymore. And and you feel kind of this awkward tension and you're like, that's so weird. Like I just had a really shitty year last year, which they were like totally there for me. Now I'm starting to grow and feel happy and they're not giving me that same energy. Pay attention to those people. I did not for many, many times. And boy, did I learn my lesson. Okay. But those are your asshole buddies. They'll be there for you at any given moment. One call and they'll fly across the country for you if you need. If you're going through the biggest heartbreak, if you're going through family trauma, if you're going through all this stuff, they will be there for you. But also when you're starting to do well, they are your number one fan and they're supporting you and they're telling you that you're proud or that they're proud of you and they're there for you. Those are who you want. And I'm going to tell you right now, the older that I get, the less asshole buddies that I have. I thought that in order to feel like I had genuine friendships, I had to have a big friend group. And I never really had a big friend group growing up. My sister, on the other hand, she's got multiple different friend groups. And some of them are huge and some of them are a little bit smaller, but she's always had bigger friend groups with boys and girls as well. And I just never had that. I thought, because I always look up to my older sister, I just like follow in her footsteps. She was a journalism major and a business minor. So I was a journalism major and business minor. She went undeclared into college. I went undeclared into college. You just follow in their footsteps and you're like, hey, what classes did you take? Okay, what teachers do you take? Okay, I won't take those. That's what it's like to be a younger sibling, right? You just walk the path that your sibling walked in. Any wrong turn that they made, you make the right turn. It's great. I love being a younger sibling core. Okay. We love it. But my sister always had bigger friends. So I just thought that that's how it was. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to have big friends, big friendships, and it's going to be great. But I never really had that. So I was like, something must be wrong with me. I don't feel like I have a lot of really close friends. I've got two asshole buddies. I've got some people who are really, 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 really good friends that have stayed good friends and at points we're kind of giving asshole buddies, but they're more just friends, really good friends that I would totally like reach out to and put a little bit of effort into, but not as much as my asshole buddies. Two people in my life, two, and that's it. Outside of my mom and my sister, but that's it. I've got two genuine good friends. I said that in the episode 2 years ago. It's still the same two people. That one of them is from diapers. I've known since I was like 2 or 3 years old. We've stayed in touch our entire lives and is still one of my really good friends. Another one I met in college and I just love her to death. But that's it. That's it. That's it. The older that you get, the more you'll realize that you'll have a lot of friends that are really good friends that will come to be asshole buddies, but they'll drop to friends or even acquaintances. And that's just how it is. I think that there's only one or two asshole buddies that will be in your life for an extended period of time. But what you realize is that they're honestly, some people are only meant to be in your life for a specific period of time to either help you through your lows, celebrate you at your highs. Maybe you're growing, maybe you're changing, maybe you're getting into certain habits that aren't so great and you're with a certain group of people, or maybe you're getting to habits that are great and you're with a certain group of people, but then you're starting to grow and change and evolve, and they're starting to grow and change and evolve, and you grow apart. That's life. It's totally healthy. It's totally healthy and normal to grow out of friendships. That is life. It happens to everybody. And I think it's going to happen for our whole lives. Making sure though that you only pour time and energy into people who are only pouring time and energy into you is going to save you a lot of stress and a lot of gray hair and wrinkles, which we don't want, right? I mean, age gracefully. I'll still continue to get my Botox because I love to do it, but yeah, and I'll probably color my hair. I found my first gray like a couple weeks ago. So that was really fun, but I love it. I'm like, okay, bring it all on. But let me talk about what I feel like unhealthy friendships are. Unhealthy friendships and red flags. If you feel that gut feeling with someone or that slight uncomfortability, listen to that. If they project their insecurities onto you without them realizing it, or even if they do realize it. Also, if they constantly compare things to you or try to one up you all the time or make themselves seem like the better person, big red flag. It's like if you tell a story and you're like, yeah, like my great grandma died. And then they're like, oh my God, my great grandma died too. And the way that she died was this, that, the other, da, 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 da. And it's like sometimes you just want to be listened to. You just want somebody to listen to you. You don't want them to try to be like, well, it's same. It's that one TikTok sound, or I don't even know if it's from TikTok, but it's like, I knew somebody once. Does that mean, I don't know. Maybe I won't even get into that. Okay. Because I'm still off TikTok. It's been a couple days and I feel amazing. But it gives the I knew somebody once where it's like they always have to say something. And you know what? I used to be like that totally because I think some people do it. I think a lot of people do it to relate to you to make sure that you don't feel alone. And they're like, oh, I, got in a really bad car accident. They're like, oh my God, I got in a really bad car accident too. Basically being like, oh my, you're not alone. Like I totally hear you. I see you. I feel you. And a lot of people mean well with it, but sometimes some people don't mean well. And other times it can come off as like, the first time is like, okay, and then they keep doing it with little things. And you're like, okay, is this a competition? Like, are you trying to be like, oh, things are way worse for me than it is for you? Or things are actually way better than me than it is for you? Even if you're like celebrating something, you're like, oh, I just got promoted. And they're like, oh my God, I just got promoted too. And it's like, okay, it's that kind of stuff where you have to pay attention to those kinds of friendships. I did used to be like that totally because I did it as I wanted to relate to people. I always meant well with it. But now that I look back, it was a place of like insecurity with myself and just with things. And I sometimes was like, oh, well, you're doing that. Well, I'm doing this. And it did feel that way inside of me, and I meant well with it, but then I would say it and I'm like, okay, is this so sometimes I was the problem for sure. I'm definitely not perfect by any means, let me tell you guys, but that's what I feel like the difference between a healthy friendship and an unhealthy friendship. And here we are out here trying to just survive and trying to make new friends. And I'm also going to tell you guys a couple different ways to make new friends, especially if you move to a new city. I'm very blessed with my job and my career and being online. I get to make some really cool connections, which I have out here. But I'm going to tell you guys my perspective on friendships because 25 was a really big year for me mentally, like right up here. Okay. I know I said it kind of a lot and I've talked about it a lot and people joke about it. And I've even gotten DMs of people being like, I'm scared to turn 25. I feel like a lot of things change. It doesn't change for everybody then, but I will tell you a lot did change for me, especially mentally. I definitely feel my frontal lobe developed for sure. And it's weird because you can't really quite pinpoint it, but I think the way that I have realized it is the way that I receive information, the way that I digest it, the way that I give information is very different than years ago. And maybe it's the Aquarius in me, but I'm very okay with being alone. I actually love to be alone. I love to be alone. I love to be alone. I mean, wow. Yeah. Love it. I just love my individuality. I like to keep to myself a lot. And I went through some pretty gnarly friendship breakups. I've been through a few different friendships, kinds of friendships, which again, the friendships with females episode of my college transfer story, definitely take a listen to that so I don't like really have to repeat myself here, but I went through just not a good moment in college. I did not have a good sorority experience, and this friend group that I was in, we just did not gel and get along, and I ended up dropping out. It didn't even end up transferring. I literally ended up withdrawing from my classes, packing my car in one night and driving back to the Bay Area. It's like an 8-hour drive from Eugene, Oregon down to the Bay Area. Yeah, did that in one night and legit I called my parents and I was like, I'm dropping out. I can't do this anymore. I need to come home. My parents were like, "Okay, do it." Thank God for my parents. I just love them so much. But that really hardened me up with friendships because prior to going through that, I was such a yes girl and I used to just let people walk all over me. And I mean, I'm 18. I was 18 years old. Like, we're all like this, right? This is just girlhood. I was very naive to a lot of things, and I was very naive to certain people and certain kinds of women and girls. And all of those things, of those like red flags and unhealthy friendships that I listed, were definitely apparent in some of the girls that I was friends with. But I chose to ignore that signal and that energy shift and that gut feeling that I would feel because I wanted so badly to be accepted and to be loved. And I thought that being in a cool friend group was going to get me there. I thought that that was going to change my life. And I'm going to tell you right now, it did not. A big friend group, like massive. I mean, especially when you're in college and you get into sororities and stuff, and then you're friends with, frat boys and sorority girls or whatever. That might not be your college story, which honestly, I hope that by the time that I get to college, that sororities and fraternities go back to just being philanthropic things and not what it is now. I don't even know if they'll really be, as big of a thing as they are. I know a lot of girls who are going to college are not really wanting to rush, which I'm like, that's awesome. But obviously, it is a philanthropy thing. So you are helping out people. But I hope that's what it gets back to, because what it was, at least when I was in college in 2017, was not philanthropic at all. Okay. There's a lot of other things going on besides that. Anyways, but you're in a big friend group. And I thought that that's what it was. I'm like, you're in a big Snapchat group message with all these boys and girls. You're in a big group message with just everybody. And you felt so cool, right? To be included. And I can tell you that it was the most unfulfilling time of my life, and I grew distant to my close high school friends. And that really hurt too, because I just wanted to be accepted, and I thought that that's what it took. And I'll tell you, after going through all of that, it was a huge wake up call, and it really hardened me up, and it made me very decisive on who I wanted to have in my life. And there's a few moments after going through that I went through friendship kind of breakups, and then we reached out to each other again and things are okay. So I've been through that, where I went through like kind of like a knockout drag out screaming fight and then we're fine. Now we're fine. We're totally fine, and we reunited, and we were both just like not we're just a classic case of miscommunication and just like not very insecure with ourselves and just not in a good place to be friends with each other. And we've totally rekindled, and now we have a way better friendship than before. So not only have I been through friendship breakups where, you're dead to me at this point, like you're done. I'll cut you off. I've got no problem. I'm a big second chance giver for men and women. I've got no problem with second chances. I truly genuinely believe that people can change. But after the second time, you're dead to me. So I've been through that. I've also been through friendship breakups where it felt like that, but then we've rekindled, and I'm like, yeah, we're all good. I'm a big forgiver. I do not hold grudges because they're exhausting. They take up way too much time and they take up way too much energy. Just drop it. They're not meant to be in your life, at least right now or forever. And that's just kind of how I feel. Now I'm at a place where I think last year too, I really wanted to pour a lot into myself, a lot more into myself. And that's kind of what I did last year, because I realized that trying to put myself out there over and over and over again to find friendships, or wanting that sense of community with friends and girls, because you see it on social media. You see everything's going to come back to social media on this podcast. Social media is the reason. No, I'm kidding. But it always somehow circles back. But you see it on social media. You see these big friend groups or these friend trips or these friendships that make you feel like you've got a little bit of FOMO because you're like, okay, like, why do I not have that? Well, let's also remember that social media is a sense of it's a one take on reality. It's not present, moment. So when you see those things, there's a lot that's cut out of it. I'm not saying that like everything is fake, but you have to just kind of gentle reminder, which I feel like we always need that reminder. I myself need that reminder too. Gentle reminder that, it's a curated thing that you're seeing. Doesn't mean that it's not real. But it's easy to compare not only yourself and your body and your life and all this stuff, but definitely your friendships. And I think right now, if you feel like you are either experiencing a friendship breakup, let it happen. If you are pouring a lot of time and energy into people, into certain individuals, and you're not feeling that back, my piece of advice is to stop reaching out. If you're the one that always reaches out to make plans, stop reaching out and see what happens because things are going to become very, very clear, very clear. And that should give you everything that you need to know. Are friendship breakups awkward? Yes. Yes, 100%. They're awkward as hell. Is there a conversation that needs to be had? Maybe. Are you maybe just going to grow apart from them and you slowly dwindle out and you stop talking? Yeah, that might be it. Is there a conversation that you need to have where you need to sit somebody down and be like, "Hey, like, what's going on? Is it worth it? What are you going to gain out of that?" Anytime somebody is like, "I want to have a conversation with an ex," or "I just want to have one more," what are you going to gain out of that? That's my question to you. What do you want to get out of it, and what are you going to gain? If you feel like you're going to gain something and it's going to give you closure and it's going to totally do it. But if you feel like you just want the last word, I would take a step back and maybe give it more time. But they're awkward to go through. They're sad to go through, but I think you just know that it's not right. You start to get that gut feeling. Embrace that gut feeling, listen to it, and let them be how they're being. Let them do what they're doing. If they're talking shit about you, if they're not pouring in time and energy into you, if they're, you know, just not giving you what they used to give you or what you're needing from the friendship, let them do that. Let them do that. Take a step back, turn inward always. It's not like you're the problem or it's your fault. But what happens in life is that you go through certain periods of life, and maybe you've had a friend or you make new friends at this period of life. You're friends with them for a couple years, couple months, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden things start changing for you. You get a new job, you get a new relationship, family dynamics are changing, you start a health and wellness journey. I don't know, the list could go on. I'll tell you something right now. As soon as you start a health and wellness journey, you will see your friends and acquaintances dropping like fucking flies. As soon as you start on a health and wellness journey, it's going to be very evident who are your real friends. Because when you start dedicating time, money, and energy into yourself and you start feeling amazing and you start creating healthy habits and you start looking good, you are going to glow different. You're going to look different, but you're going to glow different. You're going to carry yourself differently and you're going to choose to do different things, like maybe not drinking as much or maybe choosing a healthier option at the restaurant. And for any of those people that judge you or make some snide comments or whatever, keep that note, just a little note, okay? Just keep that in your back pocket and be like, oop, clocked. Got you right there. If that's how you're going to treat me because I'm working on myself, clocked. Totally good. All right. But notice those things. Tap into that. We all have an energetic side of things. We all do. Our fascia inside of us is energy. It's what carries basically energy throughout our body. We all have it. Tap into it right now. And we women, it's like a superpower that we have. The men could never. The men could never tap into the energy like we do. We have that as a superpower. Start listening to that gut feeling. But if you feel like there's changes in your life that are happening and there's certain individuals that are either not growing with you, it doesn't mean that they have to be doing the same things to grow with you. They're not appreciating what you do. They're not supporting you in that. They aren't growing with you. And maybe they're either staying in the same spot or they're progressing in a different direction that feels right for them at this moment in their life, and you're starting to grow apart. Baby, that's life. Let it happen. That's what happens with life. And and then you're growing into a different chapter, and then new people will come into your life, and you just kind of at some point have to trust in whatever higher power you believe in. But I love to just say, because I think all of us, no matter what higher power you believe in, can trust in the universe. We can trust in Mother Nature. We can trust in her to be able to give us the right people. And I mean, honestly, you guys, I really want to focus on the fact that, like, oh, if you're here on this, you're listening to this podcast and you listen to Bestie Chats with Soph and you maybe follow me on socials or you listen to podcasts that are similar to mine, I'm going to go out here on a limb and just assume that you want to better yourself. You want to become a better version of yourself. You are growing in all different areas of your life, or you're at least wanting to. You're putting in that time, energy, and effort. And I think that's why I maybe receive so many messages about friendship breakups or trying to find new friends, because you're at a different space mentally, physically, emotionally, maybe financially, who knows, and you want people who are also in the same space to gravitate towards you, right? You have got to just leave it up to the universe to be able to put those kinds of people in your life, and also allow the universe to get rid of those people that are not going to support you through this wellness journey that you're on. Because once you start a health and wellness journey and you take it very seriously, it is something that you're dedicated to for the rest of your life. You have to continuously show up for that and dedicate time into your wellness energy or journey. But you have to realize that it's going to change. There's going to be times in your life where maybe you have to focus a little bit more on work. Maybe you're just became a mom and you have to focus on raising a fucking kid. Maybe you've got a family. Maybe you've got family shit that's going on and you're the one kind of taking the brunt of it. Maybe this, that, the other. Maybe there's certain things that you have to focus on more than your wellness, but it's still a part of your life, right? You want to make sure that those people, you want people who are also focusing in on wellness to be a part of your life, because they are always going to just root for you for the most part. For the most part, you won't always get that, but it definitely changes things when you decide to do something for yourself. And another, another aspect of this is social media. When you start posting content, if you want to start doing that, but you have a fear of your friends, or you have a fear of, if you have a fear of your friends and you want to start posting on social media, girl, you got to look at those friends, because you should be able to tell your friend and be like, I think I'm going to start vlogging. I think I'm going to start posting on social media. They should be like, whoa, okay, hotshot, go for it. You let me know. I'll put your notifications on. So every time that you post, I'm going to repost it. I'm going to like, I'm going to comment. They're going to like it. They're going to comment on it every time. They're going to repost you. They're going to support you. Those are your asshole buddies. Your friends or acquaintances would be like, oh, that's cute. Aw. Oh, I hate that. Aw. No, I feel like that's so, like, not it. It could be like, I feel like aw is only used for like babies and puppies, but not to humans, where it's like, oh, that's so sweet. And you're like, what? No, you should be like, okay, okay, dinner's on you, influencer, let's go. Like, they're going to poke fun at you, but actually support you, right? That is also makes it very loud and clear on who is your real supporters and your real people. But understand that in life, you're going to go through a lot of different kinds of friendships. And every single relationship, this goes for, romantic relationships too, but especially friendships, every single relationship that you go through, it's either a learning lesson or an opportunity, or it's both. Allow them to do what they're going to do. Allow them to treat you like shit. Allow them to not, reach out to, allow them to do that. Continue to pour in yourself, look inward, and just focus in on yourself, and the universe will give you those people that you need in your life, and whether you're going to meet lifelong friends or those next individuals that are going to be there for this period of time. And yeah, I don't know, that's kind of like, that's what I feel. I am very content with my small group of people in my life. I don't have a big friend group. And it bothered me for a long time, but over the past couple years, it doesn't bother me anymore, because I'll tell you right now, when I had a group of like 20 friends, men, women, whatever, I never felt so alone. I didn't feel comfortable with, at the time I was forcing it, but it was not a supportive group of people. And now I only have two really close asshole buddies. I've got a lot of friends, and a lot of people that just because they're friends doesn't mean I don't love them. Like, I love these people. I love these people. I love a lot of my friends, but I've only got two people in my life that are my super close friends. And those two friendships are more fulfilling than anything. You would rather have one close asshole buddy who is going to ride or die for you, who's going to support you at your lowest and cheer for you at your highest and bail you out of jail or be in the same jail cell as you. One friend who is that person for you, rather than have 20 people, 10 to 20 people in your life that are just half-ass friends. Because a friend to none is a friend to all. Let me tell you that. Repeat, a friend to none is a friend to all. And that's not something that you really realize until until you are friends with somebody who is a friend to all. Because it's like a toxic relationship. You're wanting. You're the one reaching out. You're the one doing this. They're busy with all these other people and they still make time for you. And you think that you're close friends because maybe you have really close, intimate moments of like deep connection where you tell each other trauma, you tell each other things. And you're like, okay, like I know this stuff about them. Like we're really, really close, but they're also friends. That's not a friend. That is not a friend. It's a friend to none. I'll tell you that. But just long story short, if you're trying to search for that group of people and you're searching for friends and you're searching for friends and you're not finding it, my biggest piece of advice right now is to continue pouring into yourself, get off of social media, or specifically get off of TikTok. I've been off of TikTok and not social media in general. I mean, it's really just Instagram that I use outside of TikTok, and it's right now it's completely changed my life. I'm still going through it. I'm still working it out. I'll give you guys an update on it. It's not like I'm never going to go on TikTok again. I just, as a consumer, need to work through my relationship with TikTok because I'm addicted to it. I'm fully addicted to it. And I knew it's been an issue for a long time and I haven't actually made any kind of I haven't done anything about it. And I know that I haven't done anything about it, which makes me feel more like shit and worse about myself. But now it's the first time that I'm actually actively doing something about it and like trying to make the right steps towards having a better relationship with it. So I'll let you guys know. I'll keep you guys updated when that time comes. But get off of TikTok if you can, because, or even if you feel like Instagram is your TikTok, just hop off of social media. Don't be doom scrolling as much because it's only going to lead to comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy. If you're constantly comparing your life to other people, you will never actually truly ever feel full joy in your life because you're always going to want better and you're always going to want more. And I think that what a lot of us need to do, and myself included, need to sit down and realize what we have. Because with social media, and this kind of circles back into my rant, my chaotic rant that I went on last week, which by the way, thank you guys so much for bearing with me through that. But this kind of circles back to that is that we are living in a sense of urgency right now in a very fast paced life, which I don't think we are chemically wired to be like that as human beings. I don't think we are. But it's like fight or flight right now. And we are all fighting and flighting at the same time. And we're being pulled in all different directions. And we're always wanting more and more and more and more. And we're wanting the next and we're wanting the next instead of just like, it's really hard to sit down and just be present in the moment and realize I have a lot. I have a lot right now. I do. I've got good people in my life. Like I actually have two friends who are good to me. Why do I want to continue finding more or wanting better? I actually have that right here. I've got friends who have become family and I'm still feeling like I need more. Well, that comes with this sense of urgency and always wanting to be more and always wanting to be better, but wanting to do it in the fastest and quickest way possible. And I think that also correlates into friendships where I think we all need to kind of sit down and take a second to be like, actually, actually, I've got one best friend and I want to really actually pour more time and energy into that. And instead of trying to focus on wanting more or wanting other things or getting the next best thing or becoming the next best friend to whoever, why don't we sit down and pour into the current people that we have in our life and see how that feels? Because, oh, you guys, I'm going to tell you, if you have one friend and you pour time and energy into them and they pour it back into you, it is going to be enough. It's going to fill you up enough. And you take a girls' trip, just the two of you. You don't need a big friend group to do a girls' trip. You know, girls are hard, girls are vicious, girls are jealous, girls are mean, and girls are haters. That's just how we are. I think that hopefully we can in this next year become a little bit more supportive of each other and have a little bit of sense of community. And I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't really have a recipe to make that happen, but it needs to happen because I think we're all tired right now. We're tired of seeing the hate from each other online, and you're only going to, like, even if you don't give into that kind of content, you're still going to see it and you're going to still draw an opinion. And is that really good for us to do? But, anyways, if you feel like you still don't have that asshole buddy, or you're still trying to make new friends in a new city, or you're still trying to just make friends in general, let me give you a list of things that can help. Now, this isn't a perfect recipe. And also, you can leave comments on not only the YouTube videos, but you can leave comments on Spotify. So if you are on Spotify, or even if you're not listening to this on Spotify, please leave in the comments how you make new friends. Or if you have any advice, I would absolutely love that. And I'm sure that the other besties would as well. Okay, so how to build real friendships and connections. Number one piece of advice: using other friends that are long distance, and ask if they know anyone who's in your city that you can connect with. That's how my sister actually made a ton of friends out here in Nashville. I think there was two people that she met through some of her long distance friends when she was moving. One of her best friends who lives in San Francisco was like, "Oh my God, one of my really close friends from high school just moved there, or is moving there, or already lives there. And you guys should totally connect. Here's her number." So if you have any friends, asshole buddies, or friends, I mean, family, yes, but sometimes you can't trust family. They're like, "Oh, I know of this person that's going to be perfect for you." And you're like, "That's not my type as a friend." But could use friends, or could use family, but definitely use your other friends and be like, "Hey, do you guys know?" Reach out to your college buddies, reach out to some people and be like, "Hey, does anybody know of anybody that lives in, wherever?" I don't know. I'm sure that they can maybe connect you. Another way, it only takes one person to connect you to a web of people. Like, if you make one friend and then you guys, hit it off, then they can be like, "Oh, actually, like, I've lived here for a couple years. Like, why don't you come out with me and my girlfriends? Or why don't, like, you come out with me and my friends and group and whatever?" And then maybe you can start making new friends. Like, it only takes one person to connect you to a group of people. You don't need to, like, make 50 different friends. The next thing is Bumble BFF. That's a great way to find some friendships or go on some friend dates. A friend of mine in Dallas went on Bumble BFF, and I'm pretty sure that's how she met her friend group that she's had for a couple years now. And you basically, you swipe right and left. It's like a dating profile on Bumble, but it's for friends. So it's with other girls that you can just go out on, like, a friendship date with. And obviously, you can chat before. I think that's a great use of technology. I think that can be super helpful. It can be hard to meet people in person. And of course, bringing it back to Sex in the City, the way that they just, like, but this was filmed like in the 90s and came out in the 90s. Back in the 90s, so long ago, the way that I just feel like I would have thrived in the 90s. If I was like 20 in the 90s, I think that I genuinely would have thrived. Like, without a doubt, I should have been born in the 70s, because then I could have been teens in the 80s, 20s in the 90s, 30s in the early 2000s. Let's fucking go. Like, okay. Born in the wrong decade. I don't want to talk about it. But the way that they just talk to people or meet people, or the way that they would pick up on people, and then the guys would hand the business cards, be like, "Give me a call." I would love that. We need more human connection. I mean, fuck, our devices have totally screwed us with talking to human beings. I mean, I honestly love being out in the South. It's like a breath of fresh air because people actually talk to each other here. Like, when I'm checking out at the grocery store, I'm always having a conversation with the clerk because they're so nice. I don't care if they're nice to my face and talk shit behind my back. I don't care, because on the West Coast, they don't talk to you, and they don't talk to your face, and they talk shit behind your back. So, like, at least I'm having some human connection. I've had some great conversations with strangers out in public. People are a lot more wanting to talk out here, just from my experience. But anyways, I just love how they just, like, talk to each other on the street, or like out at parties. People are just, I don't know. I love it. Anyways, Facebook pages. Now, hold up. I know this sounds so like booner. I was gonna say boonies, and then I was gonna say boonies and boomer. It's the booner. This is gonna sound boomer of me, But Facebook pages, there is always there's like a Nashville girls Facebook page. There's always going to be like your whatever city, like a Tampa girls Facebook page or a Austin girls Facebook page or a whatever, Chicago girls Facebook. Always, 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 there's going to be a Facebook page. When in doubt, there's always going to be a Facebook page. Okay. So those are a great way to find roommates, to find things for sale, to find events going on. And it could be a great place to find some friends. Social media, obviously, I think can be a good way as well. But what I would use social media for is looking up things in your city, if they have it, where they might host events that aren't like influencer events. I mean, they could be, because some like influencer events are open to the public, but there might just be events that you can go to. I've ridden solo to a couple events this past year, and it's always one of those things like, I don't know if I mean, this still happens, not even when you're a kid, but it's those games that you didn't want to go to, or the sleepover, or the play date, or the whatever, school field trip you'd never wanted to go, or you didn't want to go and you were complaining, you thought it was the end of the world that you had to go play in that game or go over to that friend's house or go to the sleepover or whatever, because you just wanted to stay home, and then it ended up being the best time. That's kind of how going to an event is like. You're going to dread it before. You're going to be like, or at least me, maybe not everybody. But for me, I'm like, I don't want to go. I'm like this close to calling out and just being like, oh, I'm going to no show. And then I'm like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to show up for myself. And then I go, and within the first 30 seconds, I'm meeting somebody and having a conversation, even if it's not like my next best friend and asshole buddy, it's still a conversation, and it's a nice way to connect. So maybe I feel like there's always some stuff going on. Maybe there's some girls trying to host some like girl club things. We need more of that for sure. But that's kind of my pieces of advice. I would say friends for sure. If friends can connect you with other friends because they're trusted sources, that's the best way to go. But if not, I've heard Bumble BFF is an excellent thing and an excellent tool to use. But I don't want to keep you guys too much longer because I know that this was kind of a long episode, but I hope that this was helpful. I think that at the end of the day, we kind of have to realize that when I learned this, it really changed everything. But some people are only meant to be in your life for a certain period of time, and you kind of just you have to accept that. Another thing is, if you're going through a friendship breakup, it's going to be awkward, it's going to be sad, it's going to be shitty, there might be a little bit of drama, you might just fizzle out, you might have to have a conversation, or you might go to blows. Let it happen. Let it happen. Feel the way that you feel. I want to know that your feelings are always going to be valid. The way that you feel is always true. It's never not true. It's never false. The way that you feel is always, always, always true. You have to trust in your gut. Nothing is stronger than a woman's sixth sense. Nothing is stronger than a woman's gut. Okay? Listen to the energy shifts. Listen to the way that your energy and your body feels after you hang out with a certain group of people or a certain individual, or if you get that little bit of anxiety, or if you're feeling that little bit of like something's off, listen to it. It's true. It's always going to be true. If you're still going through a friendship breakup and you're really upset about it, just know that it's going to be a learning lesson and or an opportunity. You know, hindsight is 2020, baby. You are always going to be able to look back, and you're always going to be able to realize that although maybe you miss them, although maybe there's a lot of good times, there's a lot of bad times, whatever, you're always going to learn from it, and you're going to either be able to pick out the next best friend because of this relationship and be like, well, all of those things that I thought were okay were actually not okay. All those yellow flags were actually blaring red flags. And now I know in the next friendship or the next girl that I meet or whatever, now I know that that's not what I want. As soon as those yellow flags come up, I know it's a red flag. I'm going to cut it off there. So it's going to be a learning lesson. It's only going to help you, or it's going to be an opportunity for you to pour into yourself, which pouring into yourself feels selfish, but it's never ever selfish to do. Don't let anybody ever tell you, especially the girls, because we're haters, girls are haters. Don't ever let another girl tell you that like you're selfish, you're not giving enough time or whatever. It's never selfish to put yourself first in certain situations. It's never selfish to pour into a health and wellness journey, and to be a healthier version of yourself is never selfish ever. And the girls who think that way or are having a hard time with you actually like glowing up and doing better, not than them, but better than the old version of you, if they have a hard time with that, it's just insecurities. They're not ready to do that yet. And they would rather sit there because they're so miserable. They would rather sit there and shit on you for it and poke fun at you for it or be mean to you about it that's a lot of energy. It takes a lot of energy to hate. I'm surprised that so many people do it. I'm surprised that so many people are on Reddit and talking shit about other people. I'm surprised that people, I mean, don't get me wrong. Love a good gossip session, but like in a healthy way. There's a difference between what is going on now with social media and like all the Reddit things and what really is true. But anyways, you know me, I just always get in my tangents and then I lose my train of thought. But don't let that don't let that affect you, and always just pour into yourself, always pour into you, and just continue to move forward and to push forward, because hating is exhausting. And if they would rather spend their time hating you than pouring into themselves, let them do that and continue pouring into you. Do not let it drag you down. Don't let it be a weight in your life. Don't let it be a burden, because you are doing this for you. You only have yourself at the end of the fucking day. Even if you're dating the love of your life, you only have yourself. When you lay your head on your pillow, you want to make sure, that's what my dad told me. When you lay your head on the pillow at night, you want to make sure that the only thing that you have is your integrity. Don't ever let that go. You only have yourself at the end of the day. And pouring into yourself is never going to be a bad thing, and it's never going to be a selfish thing. Even if others make you feel that way, they're not meant to be in your life. So that's my take. That's what I've got. I hope that this was helpful. I love you guys. Friendships are tough. Women are tough. Women are tough. Okay. But they're just, come on. As I always say, we're such beautifully complex creatures, and we are the shit, and we run the world. And there are a lot of different things that are going on right now. And I think that a lot of women are, here I go again. This is my last thing I'm going to say. Sorry, you guys. This is a long episode, but whatever. I just wanted to talk. A lot of women are at different places in your life. Maybe you're the only one out of your friends who doesn't have a kid, or maybe you're the only one that does, and the rest of your friends are not. The rest of your friends are single, whatever. Maybe you're at different spaces in your life than your friends. That's okay. You have to understand that I feel like people think that it's like, oh, because they have a kid or they own a home or they own their car, they're better than me if I don't have a kid and I don't own a home and I don't have a car. No, it's just two different spots. It doesn't mean that one's above and one's below. You guys are on the same playing field of life. You're just at different spots. It's not vertical, it's horizontal. Okay. They're not above you and you're below them. That's not how life is. Life is horizontal, and we might just be together in the same space. Like maybe you both have kids at the same time, whatever. You're horizontally still right next to each other, but you start to grow apart because the different things are going on. So you're on the same playing field. You're just at different places in your life. Back then, in the good old days, back then, women basically graduated high school, got married, got pregnant, had kids. Now, what are we doing now? We're CEOs, we're entrepreneurs, we're billionaires, we are doctors, we're lawyers, we're teachers, we're mothers, we're everything. All, and we do it in a fucking pair of heels. Okay? We can be a CEO and we can run a whole board meeting with really important people while having the worst cramps of our lives in a pair of heels with some red lipstick on. Yeah. Can the men do it? No. Come on. You've seen those period simulator videos. At level 1, they're crashing out. They can't do what we do. But it's okay if you're at different places in your life, because now women can do anything. We can do anything, you guys. We can do anything. We can be whoever we want to be. We can do whatever we want. And we're taking advantage of that as we should. But maybe there's some women that they're doing whatever they want, and their version of that is becoming a mom and doing that. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that they're better than you and you're worse than them. It's just different phases of life. Like, of course. Hello. Some people still graduate and get married and have kids right away, and that's their happiness and their version of life, and that's what they love. That's amazing. Then if that's what they want, then that's what they want. If that's not what you want and you want to continue down a different path, then so be it. We're all at different spaces. It doesn't mean one's better and one's worse. or just at different spaces? Because I know some of you guys expressed some concerns about that, and I wanted to kind of give you guys my little tidbit there. But just know that it's okay. Take a breath. Everyone, just take a breath. Let's just calm down for a second. Let's just end this episode with just some like namaste vibes so we can go into our day knowing that we are the shit. We can do anything. And girls, just don't we love being a girl? Don't we love being a girl? We're so complex and so complicated for what? Because we can be. Why not? Why not? Why not be complicated? I love it. Okay, I'm going to leave you guys now. I hope this was helpful. I'm glad that I refilmed this episode because of course, I already did this episode, but I had to talk about Sex in the City. I had to link it in. And also, this is your homework. If you have not started Sex in the City, you will binge it so easily, please. You have to start it tonight. No, I don't care if you have plans. When you're getting ready or whatever, put the first episode on. You are not allowed to listen to any other of my podcast episodes from here on out unless if you listen and watch Sex in the City. We've all got to be on the same page because I will be talking about Mr. Big at some point real soon because he's got me fired up. He has my blood legit. I have a visceral reaction with the way that he talks to Carrie. Like I literally to my sister, I'm like, dude, I cannot even watch this. Like I'm actually getting hot and heated because he infuriates me so much. And she's like, yes. I said, yeah. So anyways, we'll be talking about him soon. And I want you guys to know exactly who I'm talking about because I'm sure you can pinpoint who your Mr. Big was at some point in your life. Anyways, all right. I'm going to let you guys go now. I love you so much and I will talk to you soon.